Welcome back to another video. This is a video on formations and tactics. What formation should Hughes be playing from now on? He's stuck with the 4-2-3-1. He tried a diamond in pre-season, and 4-2-3-1's been the way for a few seasons now. But before I get into it, I will read in the Whitford post last night, and that's why I've had the inspiration to do this video, because I've been thinking about it. Should we be playing 4-2-3-1? And they did a fantastic article on it. So if you're a Bradford City fan, I don't know why you'd be watching if you want anyway. Definitely go give that a read because it's very good. But yeah, we'll start off with the 4-2-3-1 which Hughes has been playing. I think he will change it up on tonight, not Tuesday night, because you can. It's basically a friendly. It's just a pizza cup, and no one wants to win that. Really, don't do much for you. You probably just get a pizza every time you win. But it's just a game where we can try things out, and I think he will play 4-2-3-1. And the reason why it hasn't really worked this season, how it was last season under Hughes, is because the three in the 4-2-3-1 are instrumental to it. They're the ones who have to be the creative players, who have to try and be the outlook up front. And you do have to have good full-backs, and I think Halliday is definitely more an attacking full-back than defensive, and that's what they have to be in that. But the three in them attacking positions just haven't been up to it compared to last season. Vernon, Walker and Pereira haven't had them for a few games. I think Pereira will come back, but Walker's injured. Just haven't been connecting, and they haven't linked up as much as they did. In that three they have to be, which you can see on the screen with the whiteboard, that you have to be moving around and trying to cause the opposition something to think about. They've got to be free roaming around that front line, and they haven't been doing that. They've been quite rigid and static, which we saw under Derek Adams. And that's why number 10 went missing, like Chapman has been, where it's just all on them, but they can't get in them positions, and they haven't been able to lock the defence. And that's why Callum Cook and Matty Daly went missing, and Walker didn't under Hughes. But yeah, that's the main thing with that formation. That's why it's failing at the minute. But with a 4-4-2, obviously the fans love 4-4-2. It's been going on for years, but it's gone out of the game, and it's a bit when Burnley play Man City under Sean Dyche last season and seasons before, they've always got battered, and that's because a 4-4-2 in recent years has become really easy to break down, because it doesn't matter if it's a narrow defensive line or if it's a wide one. It's really easy to break down, because all you have to do is keep passing the ball, keep moving the ball, which Man City do to anyone, but they get outwon in midfield because it's a 2v3, it's a 3v2 in midfield. And if you haven't got the energy to keep it up, you'll just get passed between the lines. And like you can see with the whiteboard, that's how a 4-4-2 looks. And then boxes that are put in, that's where players get into them positions. And intelligent players can just drift into them positions, and then you're out of position. And then how Man City play anyway, their five midfielders and attackers go forward, and then they get into them positions and exploit it. And that's why 4-4-2's gone out, because it's too easy to break down and get in between the lines. It's too easy, too everywhere, and all you have to do is get men in them positions. That's why teams don't go with 4-4-2. But the positives are that it is quite an attacking formation, but you're vulnerable defensively. But I can see why, and in that article it did say, and it's a good thing for me, because I'm not that old. I didn't live through the good years in the club before I was born, the Premier League years, the years when we got promotions in the 80s, and it was good to listen to that for the history. And obviously 4-4-2 were massive then, and I can obviously see why fans still want to use it. And Hughes went back to it on Saturday, and it didn't work, and that's why it isn't effective today. On to the three at the back, five at the back. A few fans have been calling for this, and I think it's mainly so we can get Odesina in, because Platt and Critchlow have been really good. Odesina we've got a chance for him and he looks good from out the pool. I think that's the main reason. We just want to see Odesina. But I have no problem with a three at the back as long as it's expansive, as long as there's movement, and I think that's what causes an attacking team. As long as there's movement in the front lines, and it doesn't matter what formation you play, as long as you've got creative players who want to move and get on the ball, you're fine. And I think that comes from the manager and intelligent players on the football pitch. But if we play three at the back, the only one with ringers is a 3-4-3, or you could play a 3-4-2-1 similar to what Chelsea play, which is on the screen now. It's a good formation, but the problem is with it is if you play Jamie Walker when he's back, yeah, you could go for it until Walker's back, the number 10. They ain't one, so we'd have to wait. And then if you do play Walker in a position similar to Mason Mounts for Chelsea, then you're leaving out other players, and it just seems too square pegs in round holes for me, and I want to move away from that. Under Hughes, I thought we'd have a team where everyone knows the position, everything's set in stone, and a few players coming in on form, like Cook for Oliver, like that, but not constant chopping and changing like we look to be having. But yeah, with a three, you're leaving out too many players, and I think Pereira will be coming back. I'm confident of that it will happen. I think that's why the third kit has been delayed until the 31st of August at around 7 o'clock, where we will announce Dion Pereira as a bantam. And if he does come, then we do have to play with wingers. He might play as a 10, but then you've got players behind him, Issa when he's back, Walker, Chapman, Young. Yeah, he could play as a striker, but then he ain't going to get in ahead of Howard, Oliver and Cook, is he? Let's be fair. So you're leaving out too many players, so I won't go with three at the back, and I don't think we have the full-backs to do it anyway, mainly the left side. But yeah, leaving out too many players, but I think the formation that gels it all together for me is a diamond, not a Jim Diamond, a diamond, where you have, it's like a 4-4-2, we played it in the 14-15 season, and it just works with this team. You've got your 4 defenders, and then you've got Smallwood in that hole, who can just be the architecture in the team, the maestro, not the architecture, and he can just create and get on the ball and spray passes out to a fullbacks who are in advanced positions. Problem with it is that you're leaving out Banks and Pereira and them. But one thing you could do is similar to that. I think in that season, we did tend to play Moraes up front with Hansen a couple of times, and he'd just drift out to the wing a bit. And I think that's what we could do with a Pereira. Play up front with Cook, but just drift out a bit, or just play behind him like a Billy Clark would. I think it has fluidity in it, and we played with it a bit in pre-season. I just think it works. You could play Sutton with Smallwood and Gilead, with Walker in front of him, or Banks, or Chapman, or you could even play Chapman in like a central role, as he does seem to want to come deep and get on the ball. But them two central midfielders could drift wide and become sort of like wingers. And it does create options, different options too, and it can be adaptable. That's another thing with it. You could say, right, well, Walker's in the 10 position, Cook and Pereira up front. Pereira can drift wide. You've got Sutton in that central position. He could drift wide and play as a bit of a winger. And then if you need a goal or something like that, you could bring on a Banks, put him in that Sutton position, and then he can roam around in that position, or he could play as a winger. So it's adaptable, and it seems a bit fluid and more attacking, and we seem to have a bit of a pump flooding into the heart, and it does seem to be more of an attacking way of playing, and that's what I'd go with. So that's that on the screen now. But yeah, let me know what your formation you play. I'm thinking there will be a lot of 4-4-2s. I've said right, 4-4-2, I don't like it. But if you haven't read the article on the Wit for the Post, go read it. It's a good read. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. And there will not be a match reaction to the Sheffield Wednesday game. I'll probably watch it on iFollow, but I can't be bothered doing a match reaction for a game that I can't really be bothered watching. Anyway, just saw a lizard. Anyway, see ya. Have a good one.